Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from dcx with another live webinar episode. Let me turn my mic down just a little. And today is episode 247, and we're going to be discussing should a CX or UX be a large organization or department within a company. And to start that conversation, we're going to be reading my article on that topic. So get ready for article adventures. And of course, these are always audience participation. Just put your comment in the YouTube or LinkedIn chat and it will pop up in front of me or on the screen. So, emojis up. Who's joining live today? As always, a quick thank you to everybody who is a part of my paid Patreon, both past, present, and future. I haven't updated this list recently, but I will. And people are upgrading and downgrading. And we also have a free level. You are absolutely welcome to join for free. So if you want to be more involved with my universe and get discounts on stuff and early access to stuff, patreon.com/CXCC. That includes even the free tier. So let's flip on over to my article and... Okay, so this is me sharing my screen where you get to watch the sausage being made. And then we'll move over to take a look at... Here's the chat room, and here's my article. So you can find this both on Medium and in my LinkedIn newsletter. So if you Google for CX should be a large org Debbie Levitt, one of those will come up in case this is an article you want to read again or maybe share out at your company or in a community that you're in. So as I'm reading it, please feel free to comment, agree, disagree, whatever you like. So here we go. CX should be a large org. I received a 4-star review for my Customers Know You Suck book on Goodreads that said that it was unreasonable for me to suggest that CX should be a large organization. The person reviewing it didn't indicate what size of an organization they thought CX should be. 1 person? Limit to 5 people? Certainly an organization that includes CX, UX, and all of their subspecialties could easily be a large organization. I often compare it to engineering. Our company doesn't have just one type of engineer. We've broken people into subspecialties. We have developers, QA, and we might have DevOps. We might have broken developers into further subspecialties, such as those who mostly or only work on the back end, the front end, or APIs. Engineering organizations are larger, partially because we need them to do so many types of work, and partially because if we want this huge bulk of work completed faster, we must hire more specialists. We couldn't complete work well or quickly with 1 engineer per team. If developers frequently ran late and missed estimations, throwing some marketing staff at them to help code probably wouldn't achieve our goals. Given how much help and work reviews non-developers would need, it could slow us down further. This leads us to request a budget for more devs and grow the engineering org with specialists. What about our CX org? The subspecialties included under this larger umbrella include quantitative, qualitative, and mixed methods researchers, UX or experience architects, sometimes called designers or UX designers, content strategists, visual and brand designers, sometimes called UI or product designers, and service designers. Like our engineers, we could easily build up a sizable department of these people because the specialized tasks the above people do are all important. We have a lot of work that needs to be done, and we want it done efficiently. If you want your research work done faster, throwing someone from marketing at it might not help if they don't have a background in this type of research. Helping that marketer, teaching them as they go, checking their work, or redoing their work would slow research and researchers down. If CX staff frequently ran late and missed estimations, throwing some marketing staff at them to help with their tasks probably wouldn't achieve our goals. Given how much help and work reviews non-CXers would need, it could slow us down further. When we value CX work, the department would naturally be larger. When you value CX and UX work, you want to hire more people into those roles. Knowing their value means it's easier to justify the budget you would be requesting. You know that CX and UX work is valued when everybody wants to do it. Everybody wants to research, design, find and solve problems, write copy, map journeys, and improve current experiences. This used to be solely the domain of CX and UX jobs. Now, many roles want to do this because the work has immediate value. The more value someone can show they're bringing to the company, the more they hope their job won't be cut. When people want to do more high value work, they do what most directly makes companies money. That's often strategy, research, design, and coding. Research and development, especially if you want to do them well, are investments. Whether you have a formal R&D department or your CX, UX, or service design practitioners essentially function as your R&D department. This takes time and costs money. The cost of any worker or team of workers can be scary when we don't understand or calculate the ROI of that investment. Companies like to pretend that they don't know the value of CX or UX, but we have many hints that they know the value, and I've written many articles about this. When we understand the value of a role or job, we know that what we pay workers costs much less than the benefits that they bring. We know that even when there are zero CX or UX professionals from any subspecialty on our teams or at our company, someone is trying to determine what customers or users will likely utilize. Someone is coming up with a customer experience strategy, even if they call it a product strategy or something else. Someone wrote the content and selected images. Someone designed the interfaces. Someone put visual design or branding on this thing. There isn't a way to avoid doing this work, but there are many ways to avoid investing in having the work done better or more efficiently by qualified and skilled people. The problem is that many non-CX and non-UX workers do CX and UX work poorly. Again, throwing anybody at work we need done doesn't mean the work is done well. If we need more CX and UX work done and we want it done well, then we are growing our CX and UX org. Product and agile frameworks claim they want empowered teams that include UX practitioners. At many companies, they really don't. As soon as it looks like we need to grow a CX or UX team or department, someone will claim that this work is easy and anybody can do it. Someone will claim CX work as part of their domain and often want to keep it for themselves, turning the CX workers we hired into assistants and order takers. This breaks the promises in our CX and UX job descriptions and hiring process. Candidates spend a month or more having 6 interviews and a take-home challenge to win a job at our company. We start with hundreds of applicants and narrow them down to the most talented and skilled for the level we want to pay for. Hire until there are no bottlenecks. If you believe that CX or UX practitioners are slowing down your product or delivery teams, then you need more CX or UX practitioners. That's it. The same thing you would do if you needed more engineers because there are bottlenecks or more projects than the current teams can handle. As the CX and UX departments become larger, they will need more managers and leadership. They might need directors or vice presidents of CX. They would answer up to a CXO, Chief Experience Officer, not a CPO, CTO, CIO, or other C-level executive. People who don't want a CX or UX department to have that much power don't like the sound of this. They're happier when Agile gives engineers all the power over everybody else on what they call the Agile team. Or they're happier when books about so-called great products give product managers all the power over what they call the product team. If CX starts having a real hierarchy and a larger number of workers, they would naturally have more power and autonomy. It would be clear that they are a strategical and tactical powerhouse that the company shouldn't live without and should be growing. I recommend a larger CX and UX org where sub teams are allocated to or embedded with product or agile teams, whatever we call them this week. You probably don't take one engineer and tell them that they alone need to code and test everything about a particular product area. You might even laugh as you hear that because it would make us so slow that we would feel like our work isn't getting done. Yet that's what we do when we ask a CX or UX team of one to handle most or all of the UX specialties and tasks for an entire product area, or sometimes more ridiculously, multiple product areas. We're setting this worker up to fail. And we're setting the larger team up to hate and disrespect them for what has to be slow and poor work given their allocation. At my company, at a minimum, we at least pair people up. This means at least 2 researchers and 2 designers. Depending upon the type of project, it could be one senior or lead with someone more junior, even an apprentice or intern if the project isn't very mission critical. Same for designers and others. They are our sub-teams, or teamlet, as I have heard them called. Maybe they are a squad of researchers or designers fully allocated to your project. Sounds good, right? The benefits include 1. Someone is always working on this project. If someone is out sick or goes on vacation, the other person is around to continue the work. If there is an important meeting one person can't make, the other person can attend. 2. In a bad situation in which someone goes on an extended leave or quits, you have one person with full knowledge of the project who can continue working while you hire the replacement. Having a minimum of 2 people on each CX squad is not an excuse to lay one of them off. They're not redundant. If your company didn't take engineering teams of 10 people and turn them into engineering teams of 5 people by laying off half of them, then we don't lay off half of a squad of 2 or 3 very important people. Build teams that get quality work done efficiently and aren't creating a bottleneck or the perception of one. When we understand the value of a role or specialty, we understand the value of bringing on more people to get work done more efficiently and higher quality. If we're not afraid to build larger engineering organizations, and some companies have been building larger product management organizations, why shouldn't there be a larger CX organization? This is especially true where we claim that CX or UX is part of our triad or trio and is supposed to be equally empowered. It's certainly not equally empowered when we have 100 engineers and 2 designers trying to be everything they need across every CX and UX subspecialty and task. When do you not need a larger CX or UX department? 1. When you don't care about quality work. 2. When you don't care about customer and user experiences. 3. When we'd rather guess what users need and cycle through many guesses and experiments, hoping to guess our way to high-quality, valuable products and services. And 4. When we don't mind using trial and paying customers as guinea pigs or an unpaid QA team. If the idea of a large organization dedicated to the strategic and tactical work around understanding, improving, and innovating customer and user experiences sounds scary and like it'll have no ROI, then it's time to have some tough conversations about your business goals, company values, brand promise, value proposition, and empathy for users. But CX is dead and product market fit eats it for breakfast, and we don't need CX or UX people for growth and success, right? So says the former CX coach, now some sort of product market fit coach, in my LinkedIn comments. So let's address, who do we really need? As of 2024, the only person we really need is the engineer who codes the digital product and makes sure it gets out to the public. That's it. Everybody else is nice to have. Product manager, don't need. Project manager, don't need. Product market fit consultant, don't need. Chief product officer, nope. QA, nah, that engineer can check their code. We could make an argument that we don't need anybody other than some techies that get digital stuff to customers. But companies found over time that when they split off different specialties and let them do their work, at least reasonably well, teams worked better. We had more success. We wasted less time and money. We can pretend that we don't need CX or UX specialists to have success or growth, but that's a slippery slope snowball that picks up nearly everybody at our company as it rolls down the hill. The question should be, what team do we need to build to have the most efficient growth and success? How do we balance wanting to be fast with wanting high quality, with caring about outcomes, etc.? It's a balance. If you care about outcomes and experiences, then your teams and hierarchy should include CX and UX specialists and experts. Okay, welcome back to Giant Me. Thanks to everybody listening for the last 9 minutes to that article. Any thoughts or questions you can please put in the live chat, or if you're watching this later on YouTube, drop a comment, give us a thumbs up, always helps with the algorithm. But does anybody, especially those watching live, want to agree or disagree or comment on how large of an organization should CX or UX be within a company of any size, from a startup to a scale up to a more mature company? I'm happy to open this up for discussion, especially since we have a good 8 minutes left together, and I'm happy to take your questions or thoughts. Otherwise, while we wait for some comments, just a reminder that tomorrow is Q&A AMA. I will be taking your questions live. If you want to send some ahead of time, head on over to dcx.to. Head there anyway, because that's where I've got lots of links to stuff you might be interested in, like my new courses, and you can get a discount code for them, my Slack and Discord, Patreon, events calendar. It's all at dcx.to. Let's see, what else is coming up this week? That's mostly it. Q&A AMA. I'm on a bit of a reduced schedule for the summer, knowing people are tuning out a bit and going on some vacations. But we will have another webinar next Monday. A little bit later, some people have asked me to try time shifting them a bit, so we'll try a new time. This will be 8 p.m. Italy time, 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. New York time. And I think that would also be 11 a.m. California time. So we'll try a time-shifted version next Monday, and that topic is going to be research findings versus insights versus actionable suggestions. So that was a pretty popular article, and we will talk about it next week. So I hope you'll join me then. Alrighty, if there aren't any comments or questions today, I thank everybody for giving me the opportunity to voice act my articles so that you can hear them out loud, which is great for accessibility and also great for those who want to hear my tone of voice in delivering the articles, or you just like hearing an article read to you. There's many reasons. If the article appeals to you, please share it out, either this video version or, of course, the Medium or LinkedIn newsletter version. And, of course, if you're not subscribed, do subscribe there. Also, if you're in our Slack or Discord, our education and media channels will always let you know when I have a new article out there. And if you're in the Patreon, you always get my articles early, so even free Patreon. I10 says, I think it depends on what kind of product the company has. Users matter in every product, but in some products, their opinion matters more than others. For example, dating apps versus VPN. I would challenge you there, and I would say, even if it is B2B or enterprise or VPN, customer experiences matter. We could frame those as opinions, but I really want to take a look at their holistic experiences, their tasks, their unmet needs, their workflows, their collaborations, their decision making process. All of this contributes to our successes and failures. How much do we know about these? How much are we guessing? So I would say, while I'm not sure that I would agree that it depends. I agree that many companies don't always prioritize knowing these things or caring about user experiences or caring even about user opinions, but I would still say that it's important. Just because we see companies not caring or deprioritizing this or ignoring customer opinions or things like that doesn't mean it's a great practice that I recommend. I-10 said, I like that you're challenging me, but I get why some companies have a 3-person UX team and some 20. Again, it really depends on the size of the company and the amount of work that they have. I sometimes talk to the people on a 3-person UX team, and they tell me they're doing the work of 15 people. They have to be the researcher, the designer, sometimes a content person. They have to do usability testing, and they have to do it for multiple teams and products at the company. These people are overworked and stressed out and very often set up to fail. Especially if they're doing work for multiple teams, let's say they're doing work for 3 teams or products, that's 2 teams that are mad at them that their stuff is not being worked on today. And so what I have found in my work history and from talking to a lot of you is that while some companies might say, hey, we're a small company, we only need a few UX people, check in with those UX people. Do they have spare time? Probably not. Are they overworked? And if they're overworked, and especially if they're making people mad, hey, our UX researcher can't get to our studies in time, so we're just going to have to go ahead without them. Hey, our designer isn't getting to stuff in time, so we're going to make our own designs. Engineers are going to design whatever. These are signs that you don't have enough UX people. And so I would rather give the message that we should hire until UX isn't a bottleneck, isn't slowing us down. Because at many companies I worked at, there weren't enough of us, but we were gaslit and we were always hearing, you're slowing us down. And my thought was, don't put me on 3 projects and with endless meetings. I have 3 projects and all of their meetings to go to. Hey, Matthew Clark with lots of letters. We have been finding that UX is combined in with other roles to make things more affordable. We keep being asked for folks that are multifaceted in their talents. Totally common, Matthew. You're absolutely right. We're increasingly seeing people. So I remember like 10 years ago, UX and UI were separate jobs. People who were more visual or branding or artistic had a separate job than the people who were more psychology, workflow architecture, like I was. And so these were separate jobs, and we didn't expect these people to have the same or overlapping skill sets because in many cases they didn't have the overlapping skill sets. Many, not all, of the more branding or visual focused people weren't strong at the psychology and architecture, and some of the architecture people weren't great artists. Then all of a sudden people expected UX and UI together. We called them product designers or UX designers. We expected you to be an amazing artist and this other stuff. Then you start seeing more stuff added in. Hey, we also expect you to write some code, or we expect you to do the research. And my thought is 2 things there, and I've been saying this for years. If you can actually correctly assess those candidates, and you're going to give them time to do that work well, that can be okay. Why? Well, let's say, for example, me. I have many years in research. I have many years in information architecture and design. If you gave me a job where my tasks or duties encompassed all of these things, I can do those. I'm qualified to do the work. Will you give me the time to do them well? That's a separate question. So I understand that hiring one Debbie might seem less expensive than hiring a Debbie and a separate person. Let's just say separate person, no matter what that person's doing, let's just say they complement me in some way. It's cheaper to hire one person than 2. Okay, but half the work is getting done. Whatever those specialties are, whatever facets, whatever talents, whatever skills. And we would see this in engineering as well. Chances are 2 engineers might get roughly twice the work done that 1 engineer can. So you can certainly try to keep hybridizing and hybridizing and hybridizing UX jobs until you're expecting 1 person who can do research, generative research and content and all aspects of information architecture and interaction design and UX design and usability testing and being able to analyze all this stuff and whatever else. Sure, you can lump that together, but make sure you are correctly assessing the candidates that come in. Very often when I see those jobs, they go to interview someone, they go, "Well, where's your visual design portfolio?" And I go, "But what about the rest of it? Don't you care how well I do research? Don't you care how well I do all your job description lists all of these things you want me to be good at, but you're only asking me to prove one thing?" So my concern with I have many concerns with hybridized jobs. I wrote about it in my 2019 book. I hinted at it a bit in my 2022 book. This is a topic I've had my teeth in for some time. And so, again, it seems more affordable, but you must remember that you're now asking one person to do multiple full-time jobs. And if you're not giving them the time and proper priorities to get that work done, they're just going to feel like they're slow and they're the bottleneck. If you say, "Deb, we'll go a little later." If you say, "Deb, you have to do all the research and all the design and usability test your designs and iterate on them and whatever," how long is that going to take just me versus how long would that take me and someone else who then could do two streams of work at the same time because you have double the human power? So again, we think that we're saving money because on the surface we hired one person instead of two or one person instead of four, because a lot of these jobs are four mixed in one. But then we look at those UX workers and some Scrum Master's going to go, "Man, that person's slow. They're blocking the Agile or Scrum team. They're not getting us what we need." Well, you asked one person to do four people's job in not the time you would give those people. So we have to remember that there are advantages and disadvantages to trying to hire fewer people who in some cases might not even be good at all the things we expect of them. And then ultimately we sometimes tell them, "Well, forget all that. Just give us some pretty wireframes so we can build it and be done." So we don't value the research. We don't value good UX design. That it just raises so many questions. So that's why I'm fighting for a larger organization. Just the way you would staff up engineers is quite similar to how you should staff up CX and UX, especially because we do have multiple specialties. Even if you want to call the job UX lead and put a million tasks into it, we have subspecialties just like engineering does. It wouldn't make sense to hire for engineer, make that person the only person on their team, and tell them they have to do every facet of front end, back end, database, DevOps, API. Matthew says, "Sounds about right. Worked at a large consultancy for a while, but the only assessment was on design portfolios, not other skills." Agreed. Yeah, so that's my warning flag. Again, people, you can do these things. Warning. You can do these things, but take a look at the outputs. Take a look at the outcomes. Take a look at morale and teamwork. Is everybody on the team always angry at UX? Does everybody think UX is too slow and not agile and slowing everything down? Then you probably didn't hire enough people. If you think you hired a bad person, try replacing them. If you've already replaced them, it's not them. I10 says, "I definitely agree. No point of hiring 5 more UXers if there's already 5 people working there and they're fine. But if it's a bottleneck, of course, the team manager should raise the issue." Yes, absolutely. And to me, these are the conversations that help get the budget to hire more people. Because Matthew can say, "Hey, it's, or Matthew's company might say, 'Hey, if we just hire Debbie, the UX team of 1, she has all of these skills. We just need her.'" Okay, but let's take a look at this from the perspective of sprint planning or project management. How long would it take Debbie to do stuff as the only person? Here's an example. I had a job interview recently. They are looking, it's a startup, they're looking for their first researcher, and they're only looking for one. The job description was a list of pretty much every type of research you could imagine. All types of qual, some quant, working with marketing, working with social media, voice of the customer, primary and secondary. It even included traveling for field studies because you were not just going to be testing digital experiences with people, you were going to be testing physical experiences with people. And that was going to be done by one person. What are the chances that that one person is going to do an amazing job at all of those things every week? I would say it's low. And I would say I'm a strong candidate because I have experience with all of those things and with juggling them, but it would probably still be potentially a stressful or difficult job for me, or even if I don't find it stressful, I would have to recognize that I might disappoint people because I might be moving slower than they want to move, especially as a startup. But wait, you asked me to go fly to this city and test this digital experience and test these physical products with people. I'm just now getting that data. I'm analyzing that data. I'm trying to get it to you, but you already want me working on something else. You expect that report to be done and you want me to be working on this other thing. Again, it's just a matter of, do we have reasonable expectations of what humans can do? And I find a lot of companies don't. They just treat us as assembly line robots and they think that they can overwork us, wear us out, throw us away, and bring in someone else who's hungry and might even take lower pay. So I think these are things we need to be careful about, and they're conversations we need to have because you can use fewer CX or UX people. You can try to hire people with a lot more skills. You can try to hire all the Debbies you can find, or all the Charlene's you can find, or up and coming I-10s, because I think you're a researcher getting more into design. You can try to hire more of these unicorns, but sure, you think you're saving money, but now we're seen as the slow, awful, terrible people blocking everybody from work, which again is also a product of bad project management. Matthew says, agree again. Not enough work being done in parallel, huge cost in delivery time. Yeah, these are the things I try to keep explaining to people. We talk about tri-track agile, which was kind of an old construct to remind agilists and scrum masters that the more we can do things concurrently, the better assembly line it's going to be. Because really, all of this is just an assembly line. So if you can have a research and strategy track going, and then you have kind of a track, they call it discovery. I don't call it discovery, but think of it as your product decisions and your actual UX design. And these things can keep going. That means you have to have at least two people working there. You need at least one researcher and you need at least one designer. And then the more you want them feeding a delivery cycle of Scrum teams, Agile teams, whatever you're calling them, the more often you want them feeding stuff, that means the more often and faster they have to get work done. There's only so much one person can get done, especially when they're allocated to multiple streams of work. If you allocate me, as I've been at many companies, to 3 streams of work. I have to work on this app project for this team. I have to work on this website project for this team and this app project for this team, it's extremely unlikely that I'm going to be well liked. It's more likely that people are going to think I'm just slow, I'm bad at my job, I'm bad at what I do, I'm not agile, and in reality, I'm not put in a situation to shine. I'm not put in a situation to set my own teammates up for success by delivering, even if it's not great work, at least good work. I-10 said, yeah, I guess it's the greed and distrust inside of me. I don't like to share my projects or wait for other people to do their part, so I want to do research and design and front end myself. And in that case, I wouldn't hire you only because I want each of those things done by someone who's really great at it and has time to do it. So if you have those skills, that's cool. But I would rather focus on what you're strongest at and have you do that work. And we once interviewed someone at a job where we really emphasized at this particular job the kind of team dynamic that we have our researchers, we have our designers. This is how they work together. This is how the work flows between them, and that was our way of working. And I remember very distinctly interviewing someone who kind of said what Aitan said, which was. I want to do it all. I don't want to pass research work to anyone else. I don't want to pass design work to anyone else. I want to do the whole thing. And we didn't move that person to the next phase of the interviews. Now, some companies may feel opposite. Some companies may go, hey, hooray, I-10 has this whole bunch of skills. She can do lots of things. And I say, okay, but is she doing them well? Did we give her the time to do them well? Did we put her on just one project so she can really focus on making things great for one team or one area of the product? And so it really depends on the company. I always prefer to see people doing what they're best at so that we can team up multiple people and get that work done more efficiently. I love doing research and design, but most companies don't want to wait for me to do both. They want to have design going while I'm researching what's going to come later and testing what's being worked on now. So that's where having those two people can benefit a company. Even if someone has the skills, I have the skills. The last job I was at, my title was lead UX researcher. I've been a designer longer than I've been a researcher, but I stayed out of the design. That was someone else's job. It was my job to set her up for success with good research data. It wouldn't have made sense for me to say, hey, look, I've got more design experience than you do. Move over. Our designer was amazing, and I felt like it was more my job to set her up for success. But if I'm at a job where they say, hey, look, we really want you to do some of the research and some of the design and some of the whatever, I go, great. That's what I do. I love all the work. But set me up for success by allowing me to estimate my own time, working with other people on that project planning, making sure I get the time I need, making sure nobody is surprised by how much time I need. These are all things that can be planned and discussed. But what ends up happening too often is somebody from engineering or project or product management comes up with a plan and comes back to UX and says, hey, you got 2 days to get us some designs. That doesn't set me up for success, doesn't set the team up for success, but it does set me up to be blamed later if the designs aren't that great. So these are all things I just want people to be careful about. There's no one right way. There is no one magic, hit the target in the center kind of thing. It's going to be different at different companies. I just want to get people thinking about the pros and cons. While there are pros to people with multiple skill sets and experience in different subspecialties of CX and UX, there's also downsides as well to asking them to do all of that work, especially when that work has dependencies, and especially if that work has to be done for multiple teams. So, just food for thought is what I'm saying. All right. Let's see what else is going on. Okay, so that wraps up for today. I hear it's Monday, so I'll hope to see everybody tomorrow. We're gonna do old time tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Italy time for the Q&A, A&A. If you'd AMA, if you want to send in a question ahead of time and be among the first, please do. Otherwise, you're welcome to ask your question live tomorrow. So thanks for the discussions and the different perspectives. It's not that anybody here is wrong. It's just that we have to weigh some pros and cons, and each company is going to weigh them differently. But again, if you find your CX or UX people are a bottleneck, or people think they're slow, or not getting enough done, or they're not agile, consider hiring more of them. I find that always magically speeds everything up. Thank you, Patricia. See you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Have a good one.